Entered Bitcoin at 59,000, closed at 70 2 days ago. Entered Ethereum at 2360 and then re-entered at late 2300s. And right now we are holding. And for everyone thinking, of course, everyone is so smart afterwards. Those are my trades in the Telegram alert group. I've been re-giving you all the time through those Bitcoin longs. For those who missed them, we were continuously adding several times. And with all that said, guys, let's go today and focus on other altcoins. All right, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Russ. For those who have not seen me yet, somehow throughout half a year, me and Nick are working together on DataDash to cover more asset classes and to spoon feed you great setups. So today, we're not gonna cover any of the tech earnings that been going yesterday. We're not gonna cover silver, neither other commodities such as lithium, cobalt, potash, or lumber, despite they all gonna do great, and we're gonna have the second wave of inflation, and I'm gonna tell you in a minute why. Today, I'd like to have more focus on our altcoins because I think this is a good moment. I mentioned multiple times for those who've seen me throughout last multiple months. I've been telling you guys I do not see the necessity to spend so much time into the alt trades. A part of the fact them providing great scalp opportunities, the real gains we made this year were mostly made either in the asset classes like silver, like gold miners, like palladium miners, or in the liquidity moves associated with China, or just in a great setups that I've been giving you from the beginning in the months of March and April. And I just realized that PayPal has been the best performing stock in the entire Nasdaq for the last quarter. Not bad, and we've been heavily into PayPal between $52 and $55. So if you feel there is a better community, please join them. I feel that's the number of amazing setups that I gave to you guys is incredible. For those wondering how to join the group, I'm telling you, I'm doing all of those for free. I made it. I'm sharing what I'm doing. If you like it or not, it's your choice. It's free for Nick's newsletter subscribers. We are more than 1,000 people by now. I am telling you that we're gonna increase the price next month just because it costs a lot to run, and I would like to bring 2 more people to support me on that just to cover their salaries. Right now, it's less than $1 a day. It's it's hardly you can buy a cup of coffee in any country in the world unless you're in Southeast Asia. Or in Portugal where I live. But in any case, guys, let's go into the charts. First of all, you already might know where I'd like to start. And I'd like to start here with the major, huge liquidity flows, which are much, much bigger than crypto and the stock market. And obviously much more than those two combined as well, because we are talking here about the bond market. And as you can see, over the last 3 weeks, since actually 4 weeks by now, since the middle of September, we've been 34% up on the gap, on the disparity of what the US 10-year treasury bonds and the German, European bonds are paying. So this percentage has increased drastically by 0.5%. And you understand what is that? For the multi-dozen of trillion dollars. They want it to be in dollar. And this is the reason why DXY was spiking. And I think right now, if you remember, I said this 100.3,8 gonna be a magnet. I think we overshot a little bit and we are bouncing back, and that is exactly what bringing relief to the crypto market. Of course, that we need to see. DXY is mostly driven by euro, and for our Telegram subscribers, I've been already indicating where I am seeing the momentum changing, the reversal happening. Let's have a look at this number. If you want to understand crypto moves from here, Euro USD shall be your chart. Guys, I know that we have a different mix of people. Some of them are more novice, some of them are more seasoned. It's super important that you don't trade like the YouTuber, Crypto, whatever, drawing the diagonal line. Yeah, it might work 3 months over the cycle, but then you're gonna get wrecked because you don't understand the global liquidity flows. And it's very, very saddening for me to see those people actually gain popularity, because what they preach, it sounds like extremely easy. I mean, it's easy for them, to get a great mass of followers. But then at the end of the day, all those people, they don't care what's gonna happen to those people because they don't teach them how to see the bigger picture. And that's one of my missions here, is to give you ability to understand the global interconnection across asset classes. So yes, above 1,085 on Euro USD chart, and we're gonna go to the charts in a second, that's for me gonna be signalizing the top in USD. So let's see where we are right now. We are just about to fight with that resistance that I mentioned. Let's put it on the charts. This red line, I don't know how the day is gonna close. Of course, I have my hypothesis, but let's not make it too complicated, because then, of course, we can go and look into other pairs. We can, for example, look at the Australian dollar versus Japanese yen and so on and so forth. It all affects your altcoin prices. If you don't understand that, step back, watch more of my videos and come back later. Because I don't want you to just draw the lines and say, every altcoin I'm gonna break, I'm gonna leverage everything and gonna make life-changing gains. That's what you hear everywhere on YouTube, and that's not how the things work, unfortunately. And the problem is that they're gonna work for a month like that for you, so that you get balls deep into leverage, and then you don't really understand how and when the momentum changes, and then you add to your position, until you're liquidated. And that's exactly why so many market makers in the crypto are making life-changing gains, but life-changing gains for them, not for you. Why so? Because if you look at any altcoin chart and you see where the leverage is sitting, and that's what the market maker is able to see. Let's take an altcoin chart, for example. So yeah, I just give you an idea. 20x leverage, people. This is already 20x liquidation, yeah, 5% move. So with Uni going from 7.9 to 7.5, everyone whose liquidation zone is here is gonna be wrecked. But you know how many people are using 20x? A lot. But there's also people using 50x leverage. And sometimes they don't even use as a later position. They just expect that, it's up only from here and it's not gonna happen. So this 2% move is already liquidating them. So it's enough for market maker to see what those liquidation zones are sitting, and then create a cascade of news. And the news can be of various degrees of magnitude. That can be the news, of course, that are not purely driven by market makers, but emphasized a lot by them. So every retaliation, every strike, every conflict, for example, escalation that we're gonna hear right now from the Middle East, guys, I'm telling you, for the next 3 months, that's gonna liquidate your leverage top longs. So be careful, especially on the situations like that, where everyone is saying this time is for certain, we're gonna break out, let's long this breakout. No, you first wait for the breakout to happen, then you wait for retest. If the retest is successful, then you might add in your position. Please don't front run those kind of trades, and this is why I'm telling you this. Now, coming back to where we were, let's come back to Euro USD chart and understand that we only gonna have a reversal, and we only gonna have the liquidity flowing into the altcoins when the DXY gonna top, and the DXY gonna top above that red line in Euro USD. So please, market on your trading view, put it as a notification, click on this little plus sign, add alert, and monitor this chart closer, much closer, that most of the people doing crypto. So that's gonna give you the edge, that's gonna give you the competitive advantage. But now let's go to the bright news. On the bright news, first of all, we are in Ethereum trade, and it's working really well. First of all, I gave you that trade already on the 10th of October. So we entered here at 2360. Our stop loss protected us. We were not hit. Our stop loss was at around 2330. And then I also told you last Friday that we're gonna add everywhere in the zone, because we expected Ethereum to hold, but we expect Bitcoin to drop a little bit. So if you, again, thinking that I am telling something I didn't say, please come and watch my last Friday video. You will see all the zones for Ethereum and how we added it on Till Street. Guys, I think that's extremely accurate. And now we are facing the resistance. We might, of course, not break it from the first attempt. So where I would like to look right now, first of all, I would like to look at the relative chart of Ethereum to Bitcoin. Why so? Because that's how the liquidity flows. And again, once again, for the users who are slightly less seasoned, let me step back for a second and show you something. This is how money flow within crypto, right? So you want first Bitcoin to lead and only then Ethereum to sustain the momentum that Bitcoin has created. Why so? That's healthy. Why it is healthy? Because the Bitcoin fully diluted valuation is roughly at 1.5 trillion and Ethereum is roughly at 320 billion. So you want to lead and you want those money further on to flow into your mid caps, enter low caps. And so looking right now at the chart, I've been telling you that very, very close here at this coiling, we will swipe and bottom. And I think the bottom is actually happening right now. And why I am saying so? Well, because for everyone who've been watching this channel for a while, you are familiar by now with the PO3 concept. For those who is watching first time, let's just write it here on the chart so you can Google in case you've never heard of that. PO3 stands for accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. And if you guys come here all the way from 2023, at least a year from now, it has been nearly a year. We've been actually consolidating into the zone. Let's highlight it in red. And then we lost it, meaning everyone on Twitter and everywhere on Discords, public and private, was crying here that Ethereum is dead. Vitalik is not the right type of a leader. Ethereum doesn't add any value. It doesn't create cult. Everyone moved to Solana. And guys, I would not mention everything that I've heard about Ethereum over the last year, especially over the last couple months when we lost the range. Everyone was telling me Ethereum is dead. And does it mean that we're going to reverse from here? No, I'm not saying that. Nothing is for certain. Apart of the fact that silver goes to 38. No, I'm joking. Nothing is for certain, including silver. But we are trading probabilities. And for me, this is a great momentum. This is a great momentum to try. And why I'm emphasizing that chart to you first? Because only Ethereum moved from here. Only this associated with the yields, associated with DXY, associated with other things can give us the reversal. And if this reversal happens, that would confirm for other projects, for other L1s first. The L1's gonna run first. And then now we're gonna go into the charts because I also feel that, for example, DOT is providing an amazing opportunity from here. I think we're gonna buy it very, very close to the bottom, and a few others that I'm even looking stronger. So if this reversal is taking place, that what is your point of invalidation? It's just below those lows. So it's less than 1% from here. But for those who've been watching me and who knows what the PO3 is, you also understand that the highs that we're gonna trigger from here, those are gonna be higher than these highs of this accumulation. So that at least brings us to 7%, maybe to 8%, but let's be humble and let's measure how the 7% for one Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So one Ethereum worth 7% of Bitcoin is gonna look like us for a trade. Our risk is here, our reward is here, or maybe let's make it more humble to 7%. We don't need all the 8%. Guys, we are 25 to 1 trade. Do you think I want to take this trade? Well, what do you think? Obviously, I want to take that trade. And if I'm wrong, that's okay, because how many times I can try? I can try, I can try multiple times. I can even try 10 times. I don't mind. But I think we don't need to try 10 times. We will find the bottom much, much, much earlier. And also for those who is worried that they not gonna spot an exact button, please don't worry. Because you simply go to the teal street, and people were asking me in the comments, how do I write teal street? That's how you write teal street. It's teal street on the top left corner. Please screenshot or write it down. It's not so complicated. But in order to work with teal street, you need an account, you need an exchange. And for those reasons, from my experience, Bybit is the best because it allows you to trade both spot and derivatives, assigning stop losses, take profits. It's the best selection of altcoins, and also, in my opinion, the best range of commissions. Of course, it depends on the tier that you have. But for everyone who wants to try, I leave a link in the description. You just deposit $100 and you can trade 500. That's an offer they do just for DataDash. We partnered in that regards, because it's also super hard for me seeing people who are assigned in the position cannot put stop loss and take profit, and they have to sit and bleed and reallocate those things. And cannot really understand how most of the exchanges are running still this way in 2024. But in any case, if you are a citizen of a jurisdiction that has hard times with crypto derivative trading, you get yourself something like that. You become a digital resident. You register the company in Estonia or in Palau or whatnot. It's not so important. I'm just letting you know that this is resolvable. I understand it's super hard for being American and trading derivatives, but there always works around and they're very legal. Unfortunately, this is not something should go into details. Anyway, we don't have time for that, and this is up to you how you structure yourself. I can tell you also there are multiple ways to trade as a corporate. You just need to open a company in a friendly jurisdictions where you don't have the capital gain tax. And if you trade at size, if you have significant volumes, that would pay off, because opening the company these days costs $1,000 or $2,000 very often, but the lucrative long-term savings that you can keep and reinvest are much of a higher magnitude, especially if we have here an alt season as we all expect, and especially if you are able to reinvest those gains into other trades, right? So probably it's worthwhile to spend a few hours and think of those a little bit more long term, rather than just saying, sorry, I cannot do that. Because this is attitude, I see it all around. I'm not going to go into details, but there are the people who look for obstacles, and there are people who look for solutions and workarounds. And now, as I said, let's maybe look on a couple of altcoins, because I believe they start looking quite good here for either being in the very bottom of the range or already reconfirming their further breakout. But let's see in details. First of all, as you know, I like the chart. It's just because I look at spot momentum and I see that spot momentum here, the blue line is leading. Of course, I'm not very happy with this open interest growth, and that's the reason why I see that we're gonna have some liquidation events. We're gonna see some news spreading around, and definitely during this entire run, assuming we're gonna have the run, but I'm quite highly certain about it. We're gonna have a lot of liquidation cascade just to kick out this open interest, just to make sure that retail doesn't go forward and market maker can go long while everyone is going short. That's the rule of the market. So yeah, be vigilant about that, and that's why I'm telling you, don't long the top. Have your entries spread. Right now, looking at the chart, I see here, for example, DOT. If you remember, if you've been watching me, I've been telling you that this money flow index, this indicator that you see in the bottom of the chart, it is called MFI. It is something a little bit more sensitive to RSI. Where I like about spotting the reversals, it's been already significantly creating higher lows while the chart was still trying to create lower lows, but unsuccessfully. So we are not able to create lower anymore. I think this is actually a button I would I have quite a big position already in DOT at the spot, and I would allocate additionally here at the perpetuals at that zone. So if you want me to spoon feed you the numbers, anything between $4 and $4.15, I would say I'd like to scale more in DOT. And here are my targets. My targets are already in the chart, because this is not the first time we are speaking about it. The first target is 25% from here for the upper band of the range. The second target is that fair value gap on the weekly. It's going to be 45% from here towards somewhat around 5.8. And the third target, all those highs, which is 6.9, and then you can keep the moon back, right? So DOT itself as an L1, despite it doesn't have so much of publicity as other L1s right now, it's definitely not Solana. It's not so exciting for the new projects and for the meme coins especially to come and enter this space. I still think it's gonna do really well, because I know the ecosystem, I know the guys building on it, I know how many great projects are coming from any types of ecosystem. From gaming to DeFi and whatnot. So yeah, there is liquidity, there are great devs, there are great infrastructure behind, and so this is not like a Fugazi kind of L1 that just wants to get the VC money and then pretend that it's doing something for a couple of years. DOT will be here, DOT was here, and so DOT, I think it's a very safe bet. Whatever safe can be in crypto, obviously. This is not a safety that being in a Magnificent 7 can provide you, but crypto-wise, it's quite a safe allocation. Now, when it comes to the second one, I think second gray chart, and this is not a coincidence that I'm here on 1 hour. I'm not here on the daily because I think this particular setup can provide you a faster moves, high volatile moves, and probably more amount of money in a shorter amount of time. If you're worried that your capital is gonna sit in DOT and DOT is gonna be a slow runner like Litecoin or whatever, like please then take this setup or take both, but adjust your sizing accordingly. What happened here is market structure break, higher lows, higher highs. Now we're coming back to retest that liquidity that this week has created. So as soon as we sustain that zone of $5, the next move is 5.5, 6.3 to grab those shorters, and then 7.6. And why 7.6? Well, I'm going here on the daily, and maybe let's make the chart bigger. Well, 7.6 would actually provide us this fair value gap here and the liquidity that has been actually created with people shorting that retests of resistance, right? Because we also do not have this week for no reason. That was a previous range. So of course we can also put even higher targets, but I think that's already okay. You know, if we are making 50% with that trade, I don't want to like keep you waiting for 140% because that's gonna be a lot of other setups. We don't also need to sit for months into something, paying for funding. And I assume if the bull market would start, funding can go quite high. So if you have a big position, it would be costly. Sometimes I'm paying thousands and thousands of dollars per month on funding. So yeah, obviously I want my trades to also run a little bit faster and for them not to sit for half a year on that. That's why we identified those TPs, TP1, TP2, TP3. I'm not gonna write it down, you got it. I think same can apply to Bonk here. Quite a similar. We lost the previous mini range. Once again, I'm talking about 1 hour for people who, for example, cannot afford the group or want to trade right now. That's okay. I know how it feels. It feels a little bit of FOMO. So there's some good setups, there's some bad setups. You rather trade the good setups of mine than you just ape into something random. So first of all, Bonk, break of market structure, created higher high. Now gonna retest this resistance. You can enter here. Let's say your stop loss here at 21 and you target this and this, right? So let's place it once again. We think through probabilities. Nothing is for certain, but that particular trade is not a bad trade because it's either 5.5 to 1 or in a worst case scenario, 2.4 to 1. So it's worth trying. It's worth trying. Once again, super important. It's very much about execution. So if your execution is poor, if you need to be spoon-fed for someone to tell you, take stop loss manually, don't wait for stop loss to get hit because you don't understand what the market structure break is. You don't understand what are the lower lows. You don't understand what are the higher lows. Step back and learn. Watch my videos. Hang out here for 3 months, guys. It does not take you 3 months to become, an engineer. It doesn't take you 3 months to become a doctor. It's okay that for the job where you can basically make 7 digits every year, sitting everywhere you want, that's not taking you 3 months either. That's very good and that's very healthy. So please give yourself some time because if you just put a lot of pressure on making money, you remember when we were speaking about Dr. Alexander Elder's trading for living. If you enter the trade and you are within the trade and instead of looking at the trade, instead of looking at the chart, instead of looking at liquidity, you are thinking in terms of numbers. I'm $5,000 in a loss. How horrible it feels because for this $5,000 I can have a used car for my wife's mother and instead of that now she's going to take a public transport and blah blah blah. You have all this thoughts. This is unhealthy. You are coming in from the position of weakness. You don't need to enter the trade in this case, or you need to significantly decline the size of your trade. If you are in a trade and you're walking with your dog and you're talking to a friend and you're constantly looking at the screen because you feel that this trade is going against you, you are on a 1 minute or 5 minute time frames, and there's nothing wrong going into 5 minutes. I'm going into 5 minutes too to enter my trade. But if you cannot, separate yourself from the chart and you're sitting there for 12 hours and seeing every candle, that probably means you're oversizing. That's a great criteria that you're trading more than you should. And so step back, learn risk management, learn market structure, watch the videos, understand the liquidity flows. And I promise you guys, in a few months, you're going to do much better. And the world of trading is never short of opportunities. There's no need to feel FOMO. As I said, we're gonna have now an altcoin run. Later on, we're gonna have the commodities run. Later on, we're gonna short equities. That's gonna be so much fun. Shorting meta, trust me, that's gonna be probably even much more fun than longing alts. But with all that said, guys, I wish you an amazing continuation of the week. I keep the link in the description for Telegram group down below. And yeah, we'll have a great one, and we see each other soon. Bye.